Hey everyone, either welcome back or welcome to my channel. And in today's video, I want to talk about why it's important that we end the stigma around headache disorders. So I'm going to be specifically talking about IIH and migraines in this video. So before we get into any more details, time for the intro. As you may or may not know, there's a lot of stigma that exists around people with headache disorders, and particularly having a headache disorder that results in being unable to do normal things. People often think that, oh, you just have a headache, well, you just need to take this over-the-counter medication drug, insert name brand here, and you'll be better because, oh, I get headaches too, and oh, I know exactly how you feel because I get headaches too. But the truth about the matter is that IIH and migraines are much different because it's not just a headache. This is why I specifically talk and emphasize the importance in saying we must end the stigma around having a disorder that revolves around headaches, specifically for IIH, because it is so much more than just a headache. I think there also needs to be some cooperation from society though as well. Headaches are extremely painful. You may not even have a headache that you would get under some other circumstances that would respond to certain over-the-counter medications. So when people get headaches and say, I'm sorry, I have a headache, I can't do that thing today, people need to learn that they're not doing it because they're being lazy. They're not doing it because they're trying to get out of something. They're not doing it because insert particular reason here. It's because they physically cannot do that thing. There's also a lot of stigma around the type of medications that people can take. So, for example, I was offered to try Botox injections for my headaches. However, because of the cosmetic industry and plastic surgery industry and people wanting to get rid of wrinkles, getting Botox is highly stigmatized. It's actually approved for use in migraines, and I think there are other uses too, but the main reason why I know about it is for migraines. I actually refuse to do Botox injections because of my own opinions on using the Botox. I also refuse Botox because I actually am not a big fan of needles. But it needs to be something that's offered as a treatment for people who want to go down that route. And it may be their best option, depending on what type of situation they're in. Another big thing around headache disorders is obtaining and sustaining employment. So when you live with a chronic illness, I consider migraines a chronic illness as well. With migraines and IIH, because of the way they are, it's very, very difficult to maintain employment. And actually, this is something that has been a big thing that has held me back, particularly right now. My migraines have not only held me back from being confident that I can maintain a job for more than a few days, but being confident that I can be the best at a particular job that I go to. So this means that I often struggle with symptoms that come and go. This is often around my period. My symptoms will be a lot worse. Sometimes with migraines, you feel normal, and other days there are days when you can't get out of bed. And unfortunately, this can last a significant amount of days a week for those people with chronic migraine. When you have a significant amount of migraine days per month, it means that you're experiencing a migraine that many days a month. Now, for those of you who have migraines, you're going to understand, well, yeah, obviously, if you're out half the month with a migraine, how are you going to be able to maintain employment? But for those of you who don't have migraines, you might just think there's no possible way that you could possibly be dealing with symptoms that much a month. But the reality is, for some of us, it is. And so when it comes to employment, you can't call in half the month and expect them to keep you on staff. That's not fair to the employer, and it's also not fair to the employee who feels like I'm not giving my best to this company or whoever you happen to be working for. Now I'm going to get into something that I don't normally talk about, but it's hard to get governments and specialized programs that help people who are low on funding to be able to afford these particular types of medications. So, a lot of migraine drugs that are specifically for migraine prevention, so the most common ones now are the monoclonal antibody drugs. And these drugs actually aren't covered by government health insurance plans. They're extremely high cost, but they aren't covered because of the fact that migraines still have an intense stigma around them. People aren't able to access the treatments and drugs that they often need. And so you start to get the sacrificing of quality of life for quantity of life. Now, IIH in itself isn't life threatening, but it can lead to things that result in it being life threatening. So, if people need to have shunts put in, any surgery carries risks. If people get depressed, which is really, really common because you don't have the same quality of life that you did before, and you often end up missing what you had before. I fall into that category. There are days that I really, really struggle with my emotions as well. I went into a little bit of a depression after I was diagnosed. My doctor picked up on it though before it got really, really bad and really, really helped me through that. I'm actually really, really thankful all of the time that I was seeing my family doctor regularly at that point because it wasn't until I was asked, is everything honestly okay, that that particular part came out. So I talked about that in my videos that I've done on mental health with IIH, and those videos are really, really important. So I strongly encourage you to check those videos out. I did one in the end of 2019, and then I did one for Mental Health Awareness Week this year. When and if, I think it's a matter of when. There seems to be some really, really good research going on in the UK with regards to IIH in particular. But when they happen to make a breakthrough with IIH treatment, this drug needs to be accessible to everybody who needs it, not just based on those who can afford it. Governments need to recognize this isn't just another headache. This is honestly a condition that involves all of these other symptoms and makes it to the point where these people may not be able to give as much as they normally would to society. This is what bothers me about particular disorders like migraines and IIH. The government will refuse to cover them because of the stigma that's involved in them. But then when it comes to the fact of, well, why aren't you finding a job? It's just like, well, if I could have access to something that would allow me to live a good quality of life, I probably could get out and contribute to society a little bit more than what I do now. Nothing is guaranteed because what works for that person may not work for this person, but it would give you a better shot at maybe finding something that works and could dramatically increase your quality of life to the point where you actually could get out and get a job and become a functioning member of society. This whole thing about, oh, these people are just being lazy is not a valid argument in my opinion. If you had to live with the quality of life that people with IIH and migraines go through, I'm pretty sure that you would eventually agree with us that yeah, you need something that can actually help them live a better quality of life. If And in my opinion, when we end the stigma around headache disorders like IIH and migraines, I'm pretty sure we'll start making a lot more progress towards society acting a lot better towards people who have headache and migraines. There are a lot of people in society who do live with migraines, each at a different severity, but they all count in my opinion. And so they need to be given access to the resources that would best lead them down the best quality of life. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave one down below. If you've made it this far in the video, don't forget to subscribe. Click that notification bell and turn your notifications to all so you never miss another video. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like. If you're watching this on Facebook or Instagram, be sure to like and follow. And as for now, that's it for today. Bye everyone.